The thin ice cracks, and the foal plunges into the freezing water, its weak breaths flickering in the biting cold. Its mother, heart burning with love, rushes into the fury of nature to save its life. Every second, death draws closer. In that desperate moment, a stranger appears. Does he bring hope, or hide a dangerous secret in the midst of life and death for the Mustang mother and her foal? Can the bond of motherhood conquer death, or has all hope been extinguished? This is not just a story of survival, but of unconditional sacrifice in a battle for life against the brutal forces of nature. Join me now and discover this heart-stopping journey. Winter, where the cold is like a blade cutting through the flesh, and the blizzards howl like sharp knives, slicing through the wild expanse. The heart of nature itself seems frozen, with towering snowdrifts covering the barren fields, and the lake's surface, a fragile sheet of ice like a mirror reflecting the delicate balance of life, ready to shatter at any moment. The world stands still, with no sound except the howling wind through the bare trees, like an unavoidable warning. Amidst this scene of death, Rosa, the proud Mustang Mare, stands firm as a monument of life and maternal love. Her coat is lashed by the wind like sharp needles, but her eyes remain sharp, perceptive, and filled with resolve. Rosa is not only a warrior of the wild but also a symbol of unconditional love, the love a mother has for her child, a love that faces death without ever retreating. By her side, Vega, the fragile foal, lacks the strength to face this harsh world. Vega's first tentative steps on the icy snow are a sign of the fragile life desperately holding on to hope. Every time Vega stumbles, Rosa's heart seems to stop, but she never lets her child face the pain alone. She is always there, lifting her, protecting her with every ounce of strength she has left. Each step Vega takes is a battle, not only against the blizzard that engulfs them in cold but also against the helplessness of her mother. Their bond, in that moment, is not just about life and death, but also about belief in maternal love. Rosa feels every moment, every breath of Vega. She cannot take her eyes off her. Every second, every minute is filled with tension and worry. In the bone-chilling cold of winter, when the world seems to be frozen in silence, Rosa wonders, will maternal love be enough to protect her child from this cold death, or is this a battle they cannot win? With each unsteady step, Vega was not only facing the bone-chilling cold of winter but also the first challenge of her life. Rosa knew that, in this very moment, motherhood was not just about protecting her child but also about teaching her to stand strong, even if the world around her was collapsing. And thus, the journey of survival in the harsh cold of nature, began. Under the thick blanket of snow, Vega, the newborn foal, took her first tentative steps in life. The whole world seemed to hold its breath as Vega's fragile legs sank into the snow, each step a fragile miracle amidst the winter's bitter cold. Snow blanketed everything, as if wrapping all life in a quiet shroud, but Vega's steps, though stumbling and uncertain, were filled with hope. Each time she fell, Rosa rushed to her side, quickly placing her hooves to catch her, protecting every step her daughter took like a reminder that motherhood never abandons. Rosa, Vega's mother, stood close by, her eyes never leaving her child. The feelings of worry intertwined with a deep sense of hope. Rosa was not just a mother protecting her child, she was the first teacher, showing Vega that no matter how weak, no matter how many times she stumbled, with love and belief in herself, she would find the strength to rise. Vega's steps were not just about learning to walk but were a profound lesson about survival in a world full of challenges. When Vega faltered again, her delicate legs seeming unable to withstand the biting cold of winter, Rosa immediately moved in, positioning her body like a shield. Without a word, through each gentle bow of her head and each stretch of her neck towards her daughter, Rosa was silently teaching Vega a lesson in bravery, in unyielding resilience even in the darkest moments. She knew that no matter how harsh the world became, the unconditional love she had for her daughter would be the only strength capable of helping Vega overcome any trial. Rosa understood that Vega might be weak, that she might fall because of her tender legs, but life cannot be lived in weakness forever. We must face pain, we must stand up even when we stumble. Rosa remembered her own childhood, when she too was weak, when she too fell and had to rely on her mother's love and strength to rise again. Rosa could not let her daughter remain weak. She had to teach her not only how to survive, but how to be strong, courageous, and resilient. Rosa stood beside Vega, not just as a protector, but as the one who would teach her the first lessons of facing adversity. Every time Vega fell, Rosa did not simply help her stand but showed her how to stand strong. She did not need to speak. Her actions, her resolute and loving gaze, were enough for Vega to understand, no matter how weak you are, as long as you keep moving, as long as you don't give up, you will find your strength within. Rosa's love was not just about protection, it was about passing on the teachings of resilience and the inner strength that every horse can discover within themselves. She was not just helping Vega rise, she was teaching her the power of courage and sacrifice. A mother is not only there to shield her child from harm but also to show her that no challenge in life is too great to overcome, as long as we never give up. Rosa knew that sometimes, loving someone is not just about protecting them from all pain, but helping them understand that, even through pain, they can still stand tall. The mother was not just a protector, but a teacher who showed her child how to face their own vulnerabilities with strength. It was a lesson of sacrifice, of courage, and of survival in a world that is as harsh as it is beautiful, where love is the light that illuminates the way. But amidst the snowstorm and the fragile ice, their greatest challenge was about to unfold, one that would push maternal love to its ultimate test. In the heart of the snowstorm, the air was so cold it could cut through flesh, the wind howling like sharp blades, and snow whipped through the air, blanketing everything in a haunting white void. There was no sign of life in the desolate, unforgiving wilderness. The storm didn't just challenge their bodies, it was an assault on the very spirit of every living creature. Rosa and Vega pressed on through this merciless world, but soon, they would face a deadly danger. Still fragile after her first few steps, Vega continued moving through the thick snow. Her tiny hooves stumbled, lost in the vast expanse. Without warning, the thin ice over the lake beneath her shattered with a sharp, echoing crack. Before she could react, Vega plummeted into the icy waters. The ice broke apart under the weight of the young foal, and in the blink of an eye, she was swallowed whole by the frigid, dark depths. Rosa screamed in panic, rushing toward her daughter. Her eyes could scarcely believe what she was seeing. She ran with all her strength, but all that remained was an empty, frozen void. Rosa's body froze, her heart stopped, and her mind became a blur. Her daughter, her fragile little foal, was pulled under by the cold waves, unable to reach out, unable to be saved. The ice was too thick, too strong, and too unyielding. Each time Rosa reached out, she felt only the cold and her helplessness. Her cries for Vega were swallowed by the roaring wind, as though the storm itself had consumed them. Vega sank mercilessly, her small body vanishing beneath the dark waters. It was a sight Rosa could only stand and witness, overwhelmed by a helplessness so profound it felt like an endless nightmare. But in that very moment, amid the agony, Rosa faced an undeniable truth: a mother cannot shield her child from every danger. She cannot always be the one to save them. But a mother's love is an indomitable force, one that nothing can quench. Rosa couldn't save her daughter, but that love still burned brightly within her, a beacon guiding the way. She could not pull Vega from the depths, but she would not allow her to die in the silence of the snowstorm. No, she couldn't. A mother would not let Vega sink into the darkness forever. Rosa stood there, amidst the cruelty of nature, between the storm and the biting cold, but her love for Vega remained unchanged. It was the love of a mother, one that doesn't give up, one that never lets go. Even though she could not break the ice, this unconditional love was the only strength left in her. She lunged toward the lake once more, desperately searching but refusing to abandon hope. Rosa fought, not just for Vega, but for the eternal love in her heart, the only thing left in this storm-ravaged world. In the darkest moments of despair, maternal love never gives up hope. Rosa proved that love is not just about protection, it is an invisible strength that helps us stand firm, even in the face of death. No matter how fierce the storm or how great the pain, maternal love will always be the light that guides us through the darkest times. A mother's love is the strength that helps us overcome every challenge and the beacon of hope in the bleakest of moments. Just as Rosa thought all hope was lost, a shadow emerged through the snowstorm, bringing the only light in the dark night. The snowstorm showed no signs of letting up, the howling winds cut through the air like sharp blades of ice, biting into the skin. Rosa charged toward the lake, her heart racing with a powerful wave of despair, her eyes full of hopelessness as they searched for her daughter. The cold air sliced through the surroundings, and the world around her was a white blur, but in that instant, a figure appeared. Through the blinding storm, a stranger on horseback approached. His silhouette was faint in the snow, but gradually, The steady gait of his strong horse brought him closer to Rosa. His tangled hair and face hidden beneath a wide-brimmed hat made him look like a warrior from ancient tales, but no one knew who he was or where he came from. His footsteps left no mark on the snow, but his presence was undeniable, as if he was ready to face any challenge that lay ahead. Rosa stood frozen, unable to believe her eyes. A stranger, at the most critical moment of her and Vega's lives, was the only one who could save them. Without hesitation, the man didn't stop to ask questions. He quickly untied the rope, grabbed the axe that was at his side, and moved toward the broken ice where Vega had fallen through. With unwavering determination, he began hacking at the thick ice. Each strike of the axe rang sharply in the silence, a declaration that he would not stop, not for a second, until he rescued Vega. From being a complete stranger, he had become a hero in Rosa's and Vega's eyes. There was no reason, no expectation of reward, just an unconditional act to save a life. As Rosa watched him tirelessly swing the axe to break the ice, she sank to the ground, unable to take her eyes off him. She didn't know this man, but the look in his eyes instilled an odd sense of trust in her. Rosa realized that, though there was nothing more she could do, there were strangers in the world, people who never sought repayment, who could still save her child. A wave of gratitude swept over her, a surprise so profound it couldn't be expressed in words. All of these emotions merged into a warm, sweet feeling. When the ice finally cracked, and Vega was pulled from the freezing water, trembling uncontrollably, Rosa ran to her daughter, lifting her fragile body into her arms. No words were needed. Rosa knew, in that moment, that hope had returned to her, thanks to the help of a stranger. Rosa understood that courage sometimes comes from those we don't know, and love is unconditional, without reason or expectation of return. Courage and sacrifice don't always come from those closest to us. Sometimes, strangers can change the course of our lives. In the most hopeless of moments, maternal love never gives up hope. Rosa showed that love is not just about protection, but also an invisible force that helps us stand tall even in the face of death. When everything around us collapses, love is the unquenchable flame that lights our way, guiding us to continue fighting and overcoming every challenge. Just when all hope seemed to be fading, and Rosa could do nothing but watch her daughter's suffering, a mysterious figure appeared through the snowstorm, bringing the only light in the darkest of nights. Amidst the savage snowstorm, where the wind howled like sharp blades and snow fell relentlessly, Rosa and Vega pressed on in their arduous journey, trudging through the bone-chilling cold. Every step felt as though they were facing a world determined to push them to the brink of survival. Yet the stranger, undeterred by the fierce elements, led them across snow-covered hills, each step resolute and unwavering, like a lighthouse in the stormy sea. He was their guide, speaking little but moving with purpose. Rosa, once a mother consumed with worry and protective instincts, had gradually opened her heart. She could feel his unwavering resilience in every silent move he made. A man she had never met had now become the only one capable of not just saving them from the biting cold, but helping them face every danger ahead. No longer did Rosa feel alone, for beside her stood someone willing to share in their hardship, not out of self-interest, but simply out of compassion. Her heart swelled with deep gratitude, a sense of surprise, but most of all, trust. This man had shown her that sometimes, help comes from unexpected sources. In the darkest hours, a stranger can create miracles. Vega, fragile and delicate as ever, began to discover her inner strength with every unsteady step she took. Rosa had always been her protector, but now, Vega not only received protection but also learned resilience from the very challenges she had to face. Each of her tired steps marked the beginning of a path toward maturity. Rosa watched in awe as her daughter began to change, realizing that she was no longer the only one who could help Vega stand tall. Her daughter could now rise on her own when adversity struck. Rosa could feel the strength growing in her daughter, a strength she had never imagined before. Rosa not only learned from the stranger how to accept help, but also how to trust in her daughter's growth. The challenges they faced together didn't just aid their survival, they strengthened the bond between them, opening new doors to the possibility of friendships and support between humans and wild creatures. They were no longer strangers, they were companions, allies, facing the storms together and forging a future that no one could have predicted. The relationship between Rosa, Vega, and the stranger shows that deep, authentic connections can emerge even in the most unlikely circumstances. Heroic acts don't always come from those we know, they can also come from strangers who, without expecting anything in return, change the course of our lives. In life, there are moments when we must rely on the kindness of those we don't know to navigate through challenges. This story teaches us that friendship is not just about shared ideals, but about empathy, about standing by each other in the toughest of times. Above all, a mother's love remains the invisible force that helps us stand firm in our darkest moments, a light that guides us through the storm, no matter the difficulties we face. When despair seemed to have reached its breaking point, when all hope appeared to vanish in the brutal snowstorm, a new danger emerged, an unprecedented challenge, where maternal love would be tested to its utmost limits. Amid the ferocious blizzard, where the world had turned into an endless sea of white, and the wind howled like sharp blades tearing at the skin, Rosa and Vega continued their relentless journey, their legs sinking into the thick snow. Every step they took felt as if the entire world was pushing them away from the brink of survival. But when their strength seemed to be running out, the man leading them did not falter. He charged into the snowstorm, guiding them over the snow-covered peaks, his horse's powerful strides acting as a beacon in the storm-tossed sea. And then, in that moment, when exhaustion nearly drained their every last ounce of energy, a menacing shadow emerged from the snowy forest. A wild bear, massive and ferocious, charged from the darkness, its eyes glowing like fire, its sharp claws ready to strike. There was no time to think. Rosa immediately positioned herself in front of Vega, like an unyielding wall. Despite the mortal danger, Rosa did not hesitate. She charged at the bear with all the strength of a mother, protecting her child with every decisive move. Though the man was trying to help, it was Rosa, with the might of maternal love, who became the primary fighter. Each kick, each swipe of her powerful hooves was like a blow to the darkness, proving that nothing could stop the love of a mother. As the bear roared in fury, Rosa showed no fear in the face of it. She would not let Vega be harmed, would not allow her child to face danger that only unconditional love could overcome. She fought the bear like a warrior, not only for Vega but for everything she had learned throughout this journey. The resilience, the courage, and the sacrifice not only allowed her to protect her child but also opened her eyes to the fact that love could transform each of us into a warrior. Finally, after a tense moment, the bear recoiled and fled in fear, unwilling to continue the assault. Rosa stood firm, gasping for breath, but she never gave up. She had fought not just for survival, but for maternal love, the invisible strength that allowed us to overcome challenges that seemed impossible. Maternal love can drive us to do things that once seemed impossible. In our most desperate moments, love can transform us into warriors. Rosa proved that maternal love is not only about protection but also the unseen strength that helps us stand firm in the face of death. When everything around us crumbles, love is the torch that never goes out, the light that guides us through the storm, no matter how great the challenges may be. When all hope seemed to have faded, when only the silence of the blizzard and the biting cold remained, this story presents an unavoidable question: can motherly love and courage be enough to find a light in this overwhelming darkness? To answer this question, we must look to the lessons that Rosa and Vega offer, lessons of love and sacrifice capable of changing the course of destiny. The arduous journey of Rosa and Vega ultimately led them to an undeniable truth: maternal love is not just about affection, but about an invisible strength that helps us overcome all the challenges life throws at us. A mother's love is something deeply different, not only protection but sacrifice, willingness to face all dangers to safeguard those she loves. It's not just an emotion, but a driving force that inspires us in our darkest moments, so that we never falter before challenges that seem insurmountable. When Rosa faced the wild bear in the harsh snowstorm, she did not only protect Vega with her body, but also with the full power of a mother's heart. She thought not of herself but of her child, ready to sacrifice everything to save her. In that moment, Rosa became the embodiment of fierce maternal love, prepared to stand before death to protect her child. Rosa's love was not mere words, but concrete action, and unwavering determination. Each powerful kick she delivered was not just a fight with a wild beast but a testament to a larger belief: maternal love can make us do the impossible. Although the strange man tried to help, he could not replace Rosa in this battle. He had saved them, but it was Rosa who fought most fiercely, whose strength and love carried them through the journey. The man, through all his efforts, became a companion, a savior, but he could not replace the strength and decisiveness of Rosa. This shows that maternal love is not just an emotion, it is part of our survival instinct, pushing us to rise even when faced with life-threatening danger. Vega, though still small and weak, began to grow with each step. She learned that sometimes, it is not always possible to rely on her mother, and that sometimes she must stand up and face challenges on her own. This was not just the first step in her growth, but a realization that, despite being small, each of us has the power to protect ourselves. Rosa taught Vega that strength comes from within, that sometimes strength doesn't come from having someone protect us, but from what we learn when we face life head-on. Their journey was not just one of survival but a journey of self-discovery. Rosa learned to trust the help of others, and Vega learned how to stand on her own, even in her weakest moments. Their story is a lesson in the connections between humans, animals, and the relationships we never thought possible. Their bond was no longer just between mother and daughter but became a connection of those who face adversity together, transcend their limitations, and build trust in life itself. So, after everything, what is the message this story truly wants to convey to us? Only genuine love and unconditional courage can guide us through the harshest challenges life throws our way. In moments that seem impossible, when the world feels like it's crumbling, love will be the bright flame that not only helps us stand firm but also empowers us to rise, uncovering the hidden potential within each of us. Rosa and Vega have taught us that, in our most desperate times, motherhood never abandons hope, and it is that hope that becomes the strength to overcome any obstacle life may present. So, when facing the greatest challenges, can we find that strength within ourselves? Do we have the courage to face the storms of life, just as Rosa and Vega did? The answer lies not outside of us, but within our own hearts, because love and sacrifice are the greatest powers, the power of a heart that never gives up, the power of a love that never lets go.